Victoria sent me an email. I never heard back from you on Sunday. So either send me the original email or this new screenshot you took or whatever it was you got. When you have a chance. Okay? All right. Welcome, everyone. There's 14. Ah, perfect. Good timing. Let's see. 15 of us now. Good. Wait another minute here while you get settled. Pull out your questions that you may have for me. Any comments, concerns, difficulties we're having with the content? I recognize a number of names from the lab section of 181 I have. Welcome back. Had the misfortune of having me twice this semester. You'll learn. Not sure what the time delay here is. I see people typing and it's taking a while to show up in the message box, but that's fine. So, let's see. Last week you wrote your first lecture exam. Average was on par with what we expected and what we typically see. So don't get too upset. Recognize, please, that you have 5 more lecture exams to a block, if you will. 1 block being evolution, 1 block being ecology. Ecology is coming up next. Okay. And then you have a cumulative final exam during your exam week. Right? It's probably the 2nd week or 3rd week of December at this rate. We'll talk more about that. Don't worry about that now. Focus on what we're doing presently. Any comments that you'd like to make about test 1? Or your next test, and that will finish the evolution component of this semester, is in week 5. That is next week. So next Thursday, you have your next test. It will cover the content in week 3, the content in week 4, and that 1 lecture of week 5. So if you're working this week and you get week 4 done, you might as well do the 1 lecture of week 5 on the weekend, so that when you show up next week, it can be all questions in preparation for the test. Okay? Yes, if you go back into the quiz, Peyton and everyone else, you can review your answers. I believe you got to go back through Lockdown Browser to get to it, but you can scroll through your test. You can see each question. You will see which questions you got correct. You will see which questions were incorrect. You will see what you answered. You will see what the correct answer is. I highly encourage it. Okay. That test, I understand, it's a learning curve for both of us. It's a learning curve for you in the sense of the types of questions that you can expect to see for the rest of the semester. So that first test, I went all out. Try to come up with every variation of the theme of a type of question. Okay, so the multiple choice, the fill in the blank, the drop-down menus, the matching, all that jazz. Something with a figure, something without a figure, perhaps, so that you are not surprised from now moving forward. Does the extra credit apply to the exam? Leah, depends what the extra credit is, but the short answer is no. The extra credit typically goes into the assignment category, calculating your grade. The only thing that's going to go into the exam category will be these 6 exams and the cumulative final. Okay? And it is a weighted average. So, and then you saw it takes some time for Professor Cottrell and I to mark all those or grade all those answers when you type those definitions and make those comments. So you just got to be a little patient as we work through that. Okay? So this week, in week 3, we moved to things like speciation modes. That was last week. Now in week 4, we're going to talk about phylogenies, I believe, and we talk about the fossil record. What is a fossil? And then week 5 is one lecture on what is called microevolution, population level phenomena. Don't worry about it. You got time to work on that early next week before your test or this weekend. That's what's coming. So the first week kind of skipped around several chapters to tell the story I wanted to tell in a particular order. And now we're going to fall back into primarily chapter chunk by chapter chunk. If you're one that likes to work through the chapter without having to skip around. Okay? We're coming up on things that you prefer. So, open up the floor here. What kind of questions do you have? Any stumbling blocks, anything that's not clear, anything that we can make better on the Canvas pages or make clear on the Canvas pages. Some of you have been pointing out links that don't work or difficulties with. Please continue to do that. We can talk about the phylogenetic tree. You have a specific question. Hey, does it come from a slide picture or just is this a question? Let's see. While he's typing, I'm going to pull up my PowerPoints just in case we need them. The sister groupings or the nodes. Okay. Sorry. Still allergy season, apparently. So, let's see if we can do this. Get my slide set up. Grades versus clades. Alrighty, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Share webcam, share my screen. It's going to take a minute for it to take a second for it to load. Keep typing in those questions. All right, I see it on my screen, and I see it on my screen that you should see. Do you actually see it though? And is it big enough? I can make it bigger. Two people are typing. Let's see what they got. Yep, I can make it full screen. I just want you to know once I go to full screen, I won't be able to see the questions, okay? But right now, the questions I have are sister groups, nodes, grades versus clades. So here we go. Okay, that should be full screen. I can't see the questions anymore. So if something's wrong, you're gonna have to use your microphone. So a phylogenetic tree, let's start there, is a diagram, is a figure. Now, the first question you ask yourself is what information does it hold? What information should I be able to glean from this figure? And the short answer is it identifies evolutionary relationships amongst groups of stuff. The stuff can be bacteria, the stuff could be viruses, the stuff could be trees, could be types of lilies, right? You get the idea, or aardvarks, all right? So the end, now it's called a tree in short because it looks like a tree. And following that analogy, the parts of it are given tree names. So I know I'm not directly answering your question yet. I was starting at a central point. So the bottom, I'm going to move my cursor around. Let's see if I can. Ooh, let's go with laser pointer. All right, here we go. Here I am down here circling. This is called the root. This is a branch. Okay, it is the root. It's the bottom of the tree. The tree is typically depicted in this manner. Sometimes it's rotated 90 degrees. It's still the same body, the body parts. It's still the same tree parts, okay? This branch this branch, this branch, they represent populations. Okay, so we've got a population of individuals here. 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 Technically, this is a population, and this is, you get the idea, right? They're all populations. Now, what does this have to do with a node? Because the history is, you read it, you start at the root, or in this case, we'll start at the root. We have a population. The population is doing its own thing through time. It's exemplified by the little cursor moving up, and then something happens in its history. And that something is a question mark. We don't know what that something is. If you're an evolutionary biologist, one task you have is to identify what that something is. But for right now, to answer your question, we don't need to know what that something is. All we need to know is something happened. Now, a little more specific than that, that something caused the population to split. And that means some individuals went on this to the left side of the room, and some individuals went to the right side of the room. So individuals separated from each other. Okay? Now, pause on a tangent. The separation could be based on different behavior patterns that they have. The separation could be based on a physical barrier in which they can't get through, across, or over. Right? The separation could be based on a time difference in their behavior. Ready? So lots of things can lead to that separation. All right, I'm going to unplug my fan. I'm getting a warning here. All right, maybe that's better. So a number of things can cause that separation. Now, when those individuals in that population start to hang out with a subset of each other instead of all of them, that is called divergence. Okay, so the event is still a question mark. We don't know what the actual stimulus was that caused this. They're divergent because some individuals went left, some individuals went right. Literally in this interpretation, we'll say some went left and some went right, but the left ones don't hang out with the right ones, and the right ones don't hang out with the left ones. You got it? And so that is depicted, that part of the tree which depicts or signifies a divergence event in this population is called a node. Okay? So the node is the part of the tree, and when you see a node, a light bulb is supposed to go off that says, ha, something caused the one population to split into two populations. Okay? These two populations then, after the split, are called sister groups. They're called sister groups. If they were individual species, then they would be called sister species. It doesn't really matter, right? It's the same phenomena. You could call them all sister groups and you would be correct even if they were species. Who cares? The important part is the sister word. All right. So that's the node. The node causes some kind of event, or the node represents an event which causes individuals to separate from each other for whatever reason. That has to do with the speciation modes. Okay. We end up with this subpopulation. We end up with this subpopulation. They're called sister populations or sister groups. Why? Because they shared this ancestor. And they shared this ancestor with no one else. Okay? So in other words, they're the only two descendant populations of this ancestor. They're called sister groups. All right. So I'm going to come out of full screen, I think, and check my questions. No more questions have been added. So does that answer the question of a node? While you're typing, we'll look at the next one. Grades versus clades. Okay, I'm going to go back full screen. So Here's our image. Same tree, just showing you more features of it. There's our ancestral population. That's the section between the two nodes. Okay, here we are. Some kind of divergence event occurred. In this particular case, the population split into 3 subpopulations. That's okay. In theory, it could be 295 subpopulations. Typically, you never draw that. But you, okay, so it doesn't matter. Don't worry about the 2 versus 3. Subpopulation 1, subpopulation 2, subpopulation 3. And what is happening along this length of the branch is that this population continues to evolve. Meanwhile, this population continues to evolve. This population continues to evolve. And of course, this population could be evolving differently than this population. So that over time, even though they all look similar, because they all are in the same ancestral population, over time, because they each continue to evolve, they may look different by the time we see them, or we have something to measure them with. Okay? Now, secondary to the element that this phylogenetic tree depicts or illustrates the evolutionary relationships of ancestors and descendants, it also identifies a unique set of players, a unique set of lineages, and it identifies those lineages as clades. Okay, as clades. Now, put your pencils down here, pause. Here's a tangent comment. The word clade comes from the fact that sometimes this figure is called a cladogram. Okay, and that comes from the fact that these trees were produced using a system of rules called cladistics. Okay, so if they're all related to each other, the process was called cladistics. It gave you this figure called the cladogram, and on the cladogram you identified a group, a particular group of lineages or species called a clade. Now, your question is, what is a clade and how is it different from a grade, right? So the technical definition of a clade is choose any ancestor you want on the tree and then choose all of its descendants. If you can capture the ancestor and all of its descendants, that is a clade. Now, why is this significant? That's a completely different question. A clade is significant because evolution only produces clades, right? I mean, if you think about it, that seems intuitive, right? Your great-great-grandmother only produced your great-grandmother, which produced your grandmother, which produced your mother, which produced, right? You can go on down the line. So that clade in that case would be your great-great-grandmother and everybody that came from your great-great-grandmother, if you're building a family tree. So in this particular case, using the cladogram, if this is my ancestral population, if this is my marker, this is my starting point, then I have to choose this ancestral population and all of its descendants. So this one, and this one. And if I group them all together, literally if I draw a circle around them, that designates a clade. So there's 2 parts to the definition. I'll say it differently this time. It includes all the descendants of a common ancestor and only those descendants. I can't choose these 3 and this one because I like it, because that comes from a different ancestor, right? This one came from this node, which came from this ancestor. I can't pick and choose. You have to pick one ancestor and all of the descendants to form a clade. And this is, again, significant because evolution produces only clades. Okay? The end result of evolution is clades. Therefore, ... If you want to study the evolutionary history of frogs, if you want to study the evolutionary history of how fishes evolved from an aquatic organism into a terrestrial organism, then you have to study clades, okay? Because that's the end result of evolution. And so that's why identifying a clade is so important. Now, the clade is an easy short form for another technical word called a monophyletic group. And it means the same thing. It just depends who you're talking to. I'm lazy. I don't like to type. If I write the word clade, that uses a lot less pencil than monophyletic group. But if you look at monophyletic group, mono means one. Okay, so basically it's telling you one ancestor in all the lineages, okay, to form this group. Now, here's why it's important. Here's an example of why it's important. If a group is a clade, that represents the evolutionary pattern. You can then read that pattern and make a statement or an inference about how evolution proceeded. If it's not a clade, then it is a grade. And there are different types of grades. But let's just do clade versus grade first. So if it's not a clade, it has to be a grade. All right. So what does a grade mean? Well, if a clade is one ancestor and all of its descendants, a grade could be one ancestor and only some of its descendants, but not all of them. Or it could be two ancestors and some of their descendants, but not all of them. Okay, so there's multiple ways to look at this. So if it is one ancestor and only some of the descendants, but not all of them, that is called a paraphyletic grade or a paraphyletic group. And if the group that you've made comes from multiple ancestors, it's called polyphyletic. So poly just means many, right? Poly means many. And para is, I think, is beside, but it doesn't matter. So poly means many. So the many goes with the many ancestors. The para goes with the one ancestor, but only some of the descendants. Both of those are grades. Okay, both of those are grades. Now, here's an example of why it's important to distinguish between a grade and a clade. If we look at this phylogeny that's on the screen, we've got birds, crocodiles, and dinosaurs, right? I can ask you, is crocodiles a clade or a grade, and how would you figure it out? Who wants to chime in? I'm on full screen, so someone just take the plunge here, put your microphone on, and let us hear it. Anyone? Be brave enough? Come on, really? So let's look at the crocodiles then. I've just blocked it off in orange. All of these are crocodiles. That's species 1, that's species 2, species 3, 5 species of crocodiles. This is the ancestor of all the crocodiles. If this is a clade, I need the ancestor and all the descendants. Are all the descendants in the same color orange block? Yes. With one ancestor? Yes. So crocodiles is a clade. Okay. Is dinosaurs a clade? Well, let's look. Here's the ancestor to this block of dinosaurs. Do I have all the descendants? I have one ancestor. So that part of the definition is good. Do I have all the descendants? I go up the tree. I got these two. I go on this side of the sister group. And then it splits again. Now I got two more sister groups. Okay, I go up this branch. I got this one, this one, this one. Good. Let's go up the other sister group. Up, another node, another split. Let's go up this sister group. Got this one, this one? Yep, got this one. Now I'm going over here. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm no longer in dinosaurs. This is not green anymore. So if dinosaurs is just this block, okay, and that means it does not include these things, then this is not a clade. This is a grade because I'm forgetting these guys. These guys, if I follow here, if we're going to call this a bird and I go down the tree, yep, look at that. I get to this ancestor, which is a dinosaur. So if we want to call dinosaurs a clade, And dinosaurs include T-Rex and Stegosaurus and Allosaurus and Spinosaurus and Brontosaurus and all our good friends. But we also have to put birds in there since they came from the same ancestor. Okay? Now, that's the technical reason if you're looking at it from the scientist perspective. Okay? The layperson's perspective might be this. By scientists calling dinosaurs dinosaurs and birds birds, but not calling birds dinosaurs, people don't realize that birds are really just dinosaurs. Okay, and that's what this tree shows you. The tree illustrates that, in fact, birds are not that different from dinosaurs. Birds are actually just one special group of dinosaurs because they shared this great, 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 great grandmother. Okay? Anyone still there? No more questions showed up. I hope I wasn't talking to myself in silence. Anyone still there? Okay, thank you, Seth. Hard to tell. There's nothing. There needs to be a tweak of this software so I can, like, hands up or something, just so you can click something once in a while to say still here. Okay. So, Peyton, I think you responded that that was clear, and now I can't find the other question. Madison, grades versus clades, is that clear? Because this is what you're going to have to do on the test. On the test, I'm going to give you a phylogeny, and I'm going to say, which is the clade? Or I'm going to draw a diagram on there. I'm going to say, is this a clade or a grade? And yes, it's a 50-50 guess, but you might as well take the full credit for it by understanding it as opposed to guessing. Okay? So, Leah, our next test is next week in this class. Next week is our second test on evolution. The chapters, off the top of my head, I don't know, but the content is week 3, that's last week. This week's content, and 1 lecture next week. That's the content. I'll have to go back and look at your pages to tell me the exact details. Because I don't work in chapters, I just work in topics. I don't think so. Madison's question is, will you have a quiz before the test like last time? I don't think so this time. I think that quiz was just to get you ready to say, okay, this is what taking a quiz is going to look like. This is what it's going to feel like. These are the types of questions this guy might ask me. That type of thing. If I'm not mistaken, let's see. I'm kind of flipping through yours. Oh, it's going to bog down and not let me do anything. All right. I think there's other assignments associated with the Achieve and not a specific quiz. Did you like the quiz before the test or not? Is your question kind of leading to the point that you want another one? Or no more, please? All right, I think I'm back. Okay. Can you hear me now? So I was answering Madison's question, and to Madison's point, the quiz set up last time was to give you a sense of what was going to happen and the types of questions. Okay, so it looks like you want a quiz before the test. Okay. Well, if I give you a quiz and you say practice quiz, it'll be a quiz, but it would count toward your assignment, Leah. You're going to do it, you might as well get credit for it. So I'll make a note of that. Another practice quiz. I think I made one for you last night. Might not be published yet. I'll check it after class. So that's something good to know. That helps me. All right. Can you hear me now? All right. Sorry. Okay. So Peyton's comment. Yep. So the quizzes are there just to help you practice and sort out some common misperceptions before the test. So I get it that they're a little stressful. Hopefully they're less stressful than the full test. Just recognize that many of the quizzes that we give you, many of the assignments that we give you based on our experience are geared toward helping you make mistakes early on activities, assignments, or quizzes that are not worth that much, don't have that great effect on your grade, so that you can, when you get to the test, you don't make those same silly mistakes. So it's okay. It's okay if an assignment goes poorly or a quiz goes poorly or this, that, or the other. It's all right. That's part of the learning process. What else can I answer? So we covered kind of clades versus grades, the node concept on a tree. What other questions do you have? Yes, Madison, we will have another conference next Tuesday, which is the 29th, and your test will be 2 days later onto Thursday. So we will have another opportunity. Of course, you're always welcome to use the discussion boards if you get stuck at 2 o'clock in the morning. Another your classmates is probably awake. If I'm awake, it's because I'm watching hockey. So, but yes, we will meet together next Tuesday, Madison. I suspect we'll have more questions then as we get closer to the test. I really encourage you to, if you have time this weekend, to listen and work through that one lecture in week 5. Okay? It has a little bit of math in it. It has algebra in it. Not a lot, but some. And some students find it very intimidating. So I encourage you to listen to it this weekend. Think about it so that when you come back next Tuesday, you got the question ready. What can you access the test, Cassidy? Where is the difficulty? You can't get to the test, or you get to the test, but you can't get to the answers? Okay. How about I look at that after we close out today? I'll do that immediately after we close today. You have a, all right, Ms. Williams, do you have a specific question yet? I mean, I know there's a lot going on. There's stuff going on in Canvas in addition to the content stuff. I find the Canvas stuff more confusing than the content stuff, but that's me. How about for you ladies and gentlemen? Okay. All right. I'm trying to figure out how to help you, Miss Williams. So we need a starting point. You say everything. I guess I can ask, can everyone find their way around the Canvas site and find what they need to find? The video links, the slides to the videos, the links to the assignments, the due dates. Okay. If that's not you, that is fine. I can help you find those things. We're trying to be very consistent from week to week so that once you have a template down, you'll know what to expect in subsequent weeks. Doesn't mean we won't make mistakes here and there, as you've seen already. Okay, so from the comments, the 4 comments that are posted, I will infer for the rest of you that the Canvas setup, you can find what you need to find. No, not Miss. No, Miss Williams, you're hard on yourself. Yes. Okay. So Madison, that sounds like Madison's MO of how she's operating. So what Madison is saying, that she's working the week to week and looking at the modules, the weekly modules, and take it week by week, completing the assignments as you go. I don't disagree with Madison's perspective. Maybe that's just the way my brain works. But try to set up the content on a week by week basis. So if you can take that time to listen to the videos in the week and do the assignments in that week, regardless of when you do it that week, you're set for the next week. You won't fall that far behind. Yes. So each module, so the modules are separated by weeks. Okay. Each module, each week may have more than 1 page in it. So a page is every time you hit next or previous. Okay. And then the module name is at the top. So you may be in week 4 for 2 or 3 pages. Okay. 1 page will be the introduction with links to videos and slides, but there is definitely an assignment every week. Okay. So you are working on 1 module a week. That's fine. You didn't realize there was homework in different modules. For the same week, Leah? Oh, I see. So, sorry, there was an assignment in module 4 when you were working in 3, dude. Okay. I'll have to go back and look at the dates of when stuff is due. Typically, it should be reversed in the sense that an assignment that is opened or given to you in week 3 is not due until sometime in week 4, as opposed to going backwards. Because that wouldn't make much sense on my behalf to give you an assignment next week that was due this week. But I'll go back and look. Peyton is pointing out that the modules link on the homepage will show you the modules. And again, each module is a week, represents a week's effort. So sometimes there's 2 videos, sometimes there's 3 videos, but there's always an assignment somewhere in that week, regardless of what the due date is. Yeah, I don't know, Miss Williams. I'm not a techie person, as you can tell. Yes, I had to go look up that phrase when you first emailed me. I had no idea what you're talking about. I don't doubt that different locations on campus get better reception. I don't doubt that. So if you're having issue when it comes time to write a test, and this is a good point for all of you, when it comes time to write a test on Thursdays, then you need to find yourself in a place that has reliable connectivity. Okay? With the appropriate tool in hand, meaning computer in hand, whatever that looks like. So it may mean moving to a different building, Ms. Williams, to write the test on Thursday. I don't know. I don't know. I do know that different places on campus are better than others. Okay? But if the layout seems okay on Canvas, content questions, any of those still floating around? I see about 3 people typing, so all right. Thanks for the note, Peyton. So there have been assignments in the modules that weren't in the overview. The overview being the first page, Larkin, when you hit the module. Okay, I'm writing it down. So it sounds like the assignment then shows up after you hit next from the overview or opening page of the module. All right. Do you remember? So when you find something like that, Larkin, let me know right away. So there wasn't a link to an assignment that, okay? If you know the name of the assignment, send it to me. And I'll check it right after class. So on my list of to-dos right after class is double check the test. You can see your answers, and they're going to show your answers. Try to go back and look at the module overview pages to make sure the individual assignments are listed, even if there's a link on another page. And then think about a practice quiz in week 5 before our next test. What else can I? Emily and Emily, you guys are quiet. Questions or? Okay, are you talking? So Ariana, are you? Or Ariere, my apologies. So what? Okay. So there are 2 different courses. This is the 181 lecture course, of course, and then there's a 181 lab course. And you probably have different instructors for both of them. I'm going to guess. So if you know who your lab instructor is, I might be able to help you, because I know all the lab instructors. I can help you with this course. We need to figure out where to help and start on what's confusing. Rachel, you have a question? Gia, question? Okay, Eva? All right, I know Eva. So, Ms. Williams, you're emailing Eva, she's not replying to you, is what it sounds like. All right. All right. I'll make a note. If I see her, I'll just ask if she has an email from you. Okay. Is it likely test 3 will be on October 15th? Let me see. So week 5, we'll complete that. Week 1, week 2. Yeah, no early. I'm going to guess, Peyton, no earlier than the week of the 12th. Maybe more likely that the week of the 19th, but I don't know. It's either you get one after in the 3rd week or the 2nd week. All right, you see that, Ms. Williams? It sounds like Jacob is in your same section, or at least a similar section. All right. Well, that particular issue, you're going to need either your classmates to help you or Eva. I don't know. You can go and look in your Canvas course. Go to the discussion link. She may have set up a discussion where you can ask questions to anyone in the class and your classmates can answer, like Jacob. I don't know. I don't have access to her Canvas course, so I don't know. I see a few other people typing here, so. So try to block your lectures out by topic. You've got one lecture, one video, and set of slides about how divergence may lead to new species. I think we just talked about that previously on the first test. We have this lecture that we're looking at about the phylogeny, how to interpret a phylogeny, what you can use a phylogeny for. Okay. We're going to have a discussion on extinction, because that is the opposite side of the coin to speciation. We'll look at some mass extinction events in the fossil record. We'll talk about what is a fossil, how a fossil forms, and then what you can do with fossil data to help you understand the evolutionary picture. And then we'll finish off with, well, we've got a short one on rates of speciation. How fast does speciation occur? There's two big competing hypotheses. Okay, so that's all coming up probably this week. And then next week will be the one microevolutionary perspective. What is happening at the population level? How can you measure changes in allele frequencies? What does that mean? All right, I see people typing, but no message is showing. Not sure how long the lag time is. Other content questions? Mr. Mativa? Ms. George? Question? Okay. Well, you know, don't want to keep you. If you're okay, don't have questions, we got things to do, you can use the rest of this blocked out time to start a video, review your slides, read something in your textbook, whatever it is you need to do. All right, Joseph. Well, funny, because every time I go to talk, my spouse is like, shh, 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 shh. I've heard this before. So go ahead and put it on your calendar next Tuesday, even though I typically don't send you the conference reminder until Sunday or Monday or something, but put it on your calendar next Tuesday, 1 o'clock, 2 days before your next test. Ms. Brandt, you're going to send me an email if you haven't already, right? And I'll take care of that first. Then I'm going to look into these 3 issues for you. Not you specifically, Victoria, but everyone. Maybe if I figure them out, I will send you a collective announcement pointing out what I've done. There's lots going on. Get yourself a calendar. Write down all these due dates. I'm trying to be consistent and giving it to you on the same day. The due date doesn't always happen. By the time you juggle in this class with 3 or 4 other classes, you've got lots of due dates. So don't remember if it was you I told or not, but I actually have 4 calendars above my computer. One for each of my 4 classes I teach. And then I keep another one just to keep track of my kids. So whatever works for you is what you do. Yes, that was an error. You're good call. So that was an error in the question, and Professor Cottrell went back and regraded the question, and so it doesn't matter which one you put, you should have gotten credit for it. So it was regraded automatically. I'd have to go back and look at your individual question. Make a note of it. If that happens, in the future, jot it, while you're taking the test, you can always write down question 12, error, question mark. You can send it to us. We'll have a quick look at it. We make mistakes. You're not going to be penalized for our mistakes, so they'll be easily corrected. Okay? Okay. If everyone's okay, I'd tell you to take, use this time to work on this class since you've already got it blocked out in your schedule. You don't need to sit here with me if you're all right. You want to ask questions, keep going. Maybe I'll ask you one question. Anyone using Chrome browser for this conference or in general and having difficulties with conferences in Canvas? No difficulties, Jessica? Okay. All right. Just wondering. Typically, I haven't had any issues. Started last week, though, so I'm not sure what's up. All right. Shall I cut you off then and close this if there's no more questions? Or does it just feel safer hanging out here till 2:30 or 2:20, whatever it is? I will pass along your suggestions to Professor Cottrell, or your comments. All right, if there's no questions, I'm going to end it, and I'm going to work on these 3 things real quick, see if I can fix them for you. Okay? All right. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Go do something fun. Enjoy a little bit of the sun. No, it's not going to last forever living in Michigan. All right. Feel free to email me if you have questions or private concerns. Feel free to use the discussion board too. You got a generic question you'd like to share with everyone. All right. Have a good afternoon.